Hello and welcome back to the Book of Scrim. Hopefully you've caught the first video I've done. This will be the second. So yes, I'm going to just very quickly go through an old moleskin I've just pulled randomly off the shelf. My name is Martin Heron, and I've been working as an artist for 30 odd years, whatever, give or take. So here we go. Moleskin. Let's have a see if I've dated. Yes, 2015. This is like going on for 10 years old. So I don't know what has changed, but something may have changed. Okay, this is Scrim, and if you've watched the previous video, you'll know that it's this fiberglass mesh tape that's used in the building industry for dry lining, sometimes known as jointing tape. It's adhesive on one side. So it's quite nice to work with, and you can just stick it straight down on the page. You can see here where I can actually feel here where the adhesive sometimes slows down the drying of the colour that I've put on the Scrim, and it leaves residue on the other page. Sometimes makes it a bit sticky. Quite often I'll stick it down without anything on, but it works better on a colour background. Yeah, I'll quite often use acrylic markers, acrylic paint, spray paint, ink, and at one point, probably here, I was using Sharpie markers quite a lot. So yeah, it was a lot of the time it was placing them down the page, cutting out different shapes, quite a lot playing with the grid, often squares of Scrim, and then just seeing what that, what an arrangement, what will happen with the layering of the colour. Quite nice what's been left here. So yeah, you'll see here, these are just literally squares cut out, and it's, approximately I think it was like about 15 or 16 by 16, these little squares. Quite keen on the visual language here, what's happening, the way you're trying to read this, what the play on what it's doing to your eye. So I'm just going through this fairly quickly. I'm down with a bit of a nasty cold at the minute. It's just getting past it, but it's making it a bit difficult to keep going and keep sort of continually talking about these things, but I thought I'd get a video pulled together if I could. Yeah, I decided to use the little squares within the bigger piece here and stain these separately. Yeah, so this is where some of this, and I remember with this purple Sharpie that's really smelly, but I can see it was really smelly, and I got a bit sensitive to the smell of the Sharpies. I'm not a fan now of alcohol markers because of that smell, but yeah, interesting. But I still use some of them. Some of them are better than others. So here I think I probably started doing a little bit more landscape shapes with them. Yeah. So you can kind of see, you get some really quite nice effects, and it really does make your eye work all over the place to try and work out what's happening here. So this has turned again because, as far as I remember, this actually came across and started going, taking this across a few pages. Probably something I will do more of, and you will see back and forward I'll keep revisiting this, but I do like this continual kind of wavy line. But you'll see here there's a number of different colours. There was probably ink in this one, and I quite liked that staining with inks and letting that dry off, but you could get sort of little different subtleties of other colours coming through. Yeah, quite a nice play of each other. So yeah, these would have been some different ways of looking at these pieces. But yeah, you can see over the time where the, you know, and it actually still feels a little bit tacky. But that's a great thing, these books you can experiment in them and see what happens, but it's left some little residue on the orange here, but still quite, the effect works quite nicely. Yeah, I started building up these, pulling the square slightly out of shape, lifting here and there because there's so much. And these kind of bursts of colour right on the page. I quite like that. So yeah, I'll often turn the, you know, it'll be a landscape or a portrait, wherever it kind of takes my fancy on the day, or whatever seems to suit what I'm doing with the scrim at that point in time. And these, I quite like this, almost like subverting the actual mesh itself and kind of trying to break it up and tear the edges and force it around. And it's got just, you know, trying to find other ways to work with the material. Yeah. So yeah, also, as you'll see in quite a lot of these sketchbooks, I often just combine these materials. There's a duct tape here where it's quite heavily textured. There's actually mesh within the tape itself, and then it's sort of like the scrim's laid over the top. And I like crossover points, and I'll keep referring to that quite a lot. Lots of things happen at crossover points. So yeah, I'll also then have gone to experiment with just the duct tape by itself, because it leaves just an interesting form and texture. So I'll have done a few of those. Sort of a combination of the scrim and the duct tape is really nice at times. Doing this tends to leave the tape, it's quite susceptible to tear on the other page on these sorts of things, but the book's there to be experimented with. Some nice simple forms happening here. So yes, I'll have introduced biro. I use biro quite a lot in some of the work that I've done. So using that as a background to build up something that's quite chaotic, and getting a little bit more quite expressive with this. And then bringing parcel tape into it. And just simply masking tape, and that can work just very simply and quite nicely on its own. And I like how, you know, it will age over time and sort of it'll discolor a little bit. I do quite like that. So, what was I doing here? Probably portrait. Crossover points, love them. again, but this is masking tape laid on the background just to try and affect something in the texture of these. And I really do like the folding over and wrinkling. Just gives a little bit, that brings us quite a sculptural element to it. So there you go. This is now this page and these sorts of pages, this is where you see where I used to lay this scrim down to actually stain it on these pages. So I would use the back and loose pages sometimes in these sketchbooks to stain the scrim. So lay it down and then basically colour it with whatever medium I'm kind of wanting to use at the time. So there you go. That's very quickly, hopefully very quickly, another book of scrim. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you'll catch some more. Okay, bye.